Hey there, Sankom guys. Welcome back for another amazing episode of the MRHB Crypto Show. As always, you guys got me. You're not really interested in, but we got Moby with us. Moby, how are you doing? What's going on? How's Ramadan? How's Taraweeh? Are your legs supporting you?
Yeah. Legs are, I'm just, praying eight right now. You know what I mean? So my legs are okay. I'm ramping it up. I'm taking it easy. But alhamdulillah, man, it's the month of blessings. It's the fun part right now. Like it's the start. It's the fun part. It's not that, the middle end part where you really have to push yourself. But alhamdulillah, man, like enjoying it. Obviously, we're finding time to find. Last week we weren't here, but we're just trying to find time to record with you guys. Ramadan's a busy month for everyone, but man,
Yep.
I envy you right now, my friend. You are in the sacred place, the place where you want to be in Ramadan. Talk to us about what's happening in Makkah, and you're going to Medina, I think, next week. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. It's a blessing of Allah that, I got a chance to come here during Ramadan. But man, Makkah and Ramadan's a machine. Like I'm talking about people are coming, people are going. Even right now, like I don't have my setup because I'm in a hotel. And it took the hotel people like 1 hour to just check us in because that's how many people are coming and going because people are going, they're giving in their cards, they have to process those cards out. So it's wild. It's super busy and alhamdulillah. But you feel that brotherhood because when you see, I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of people stand in Jamaat with you in front of the Kaaba. It's just and then you can sense the spiritual level and the emotional level. Just it's crazy. Like and then when we're doing the prayers together and you're doing dua together, and you can hear your brothers and sisters, less of the sisters but more of the brothers because I'm a brother, cry. You get into that zone too. So it's like we all are making dua together, we all are praying together. So it's been a very 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 good experience so far, alhamdulillah.
Amazing, man, amazing.
Yeah. All right, so let's get this thing started. Moby, what are the updates? What's going on? And then after that, it's gonna be me. We're just gonna talk more about updates. We're gonna answer a few questions from you, from what you guys were asking us about in our comment section. So we're gonna answer those, and then that's about it. But you know what, Moby, the floor is yours. Let me know what's going on. What's up?
Yeah, awesome. It's going to be a great show. I think we're also going to talk about our top five picks later in this show, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Let me just share my screen, get straight into this. So I want to talk about the what first, and then let's talk about why. So obviously, unless you've been sleeping under a rock, the crypto market dipped a little bit. We're still above that healthy $1.8 trillion long-term support and resistance. So, it's nothing to cry about or worry about yet per se. But it doesn't mean it won't fall any further, right? So to sort of understand why it did fall recently anyway, one, rising interest rates, right? So we mentioned, earlier episodes that the US Fed has proposed 5 interest rate hikes this year. So rising interest rates, coupled with the fact that the next inflation figures will be released on April 12th, which is 3 days, from time of recording today. So what we do know that the US Fed released their minutes. So in anticipation of any hike or any sort of policy release, they'll often have a meeting and they'll release their minutes. And what we do know from those minutes that they're more hawkish than expected, which means they're a little bit more bearish for us on rate hikes and what we call quantitative easing or reducing the liquidity rather. So what that is reducing the liquidity or the money in the market. So there's less money to play. The availability of cheap money goes down. And how much is that exactly? Well, as much as $95 billion. So what they've said
Mhm.
is it could be as much as $95 billion. That's reducing that money from the market. Could be 5, it could be 80, it could be 90, it could be up to 95. But what we do know is the Fed fears public loss of confidence in their ability to resolve inflation. Look, honestly, I think people have lost confidence anyway. I certainly lost confidence in them a long time ago, but they know that the government, the public, everyone's looking at them right now, and I think there's an election next year, or that's sort of starting as well. So there's a lot of political pressure in the market for sure. So what does that mean, right? What levels? What do we care? Now, I was thinking about this, right? Obviously, before the show, I do my research. We look at the charts, and I'm like, okay, what do you do right now, Right now, it's kind of like just the halfway zone. Like, when astaghfirullah, God forgive me, you pass away, and before you go to, heaven or hell, inshallah heaven, you're just in a, like a halfway house. You know what I mean? You're just in a transition period. You don't know where, like, you don't know exactly yet where you're going to go. You know what I mean? That's kind of where we're at right now. Excuse the metaphor. I don't mean to be facetious about, Jannah and Jahannam. But I guess what I'm trying to say is there's really, if I had to summarize it, there's two levels we have to look out for. So right now we're at 42,383. Unfortunately, we lost 44, and 41,600 must hold. So we're not too far from that. And honestly, it's probably 50-50, maybe 60-40 that we actually will go through this. And if we do break this level, then don't be too surprised if we hit 38,000. That's the story of crypto, right? It's like, unlike a broken record, this happens all the time. It's a merry-go-round. Like, this happens all the time, up and down, right? It's just the game, So if you've been in crypto more than 3-4 months, you know that this is what you do. You buy on dips, you sell on high, and you dollar cost average in, right? Now, in terms of what that means for buying or selling, right now I wouldn't really do anything. I would wait to see whether we bounce off this. I'd wait to see what happens with interest rates. And really, for that trend to resume, for that macro trend to continue, we have to bounce above $45,000. Right now, again, we haven't hit bearish. I still think we're in a bullish market right now. Based off what I've said the 2 weeks ago, that trend is still there. But for that trend to resume, we have to be above $45,000. Now, we look at the fundamentals. The other big thing that happened in the last week, and might still be happening, is the Bitcoin Miami conference, right? So a lot of things come out, a lot of hype comes out. Honestly, it's like just a bunch of nerds talking about how much they love Bitcoin. Some of the stuff is fundamentally honest and true. Some of the stuff is just swearing at anyone who doesn't believe in Bitcoin. There's a lot of hype. But one of the most interesting things, in my opinion, came out was Bitcoin might be soon accepted by McDonald's, Walmart, via the Lightning Network. So Jack Mallers of Strike was in Bitcoin, and he was talking about the Lightning Network. And so the Lightning Network is the ability to use Bitcoin in payment systems. So it's kind of like replacing, like just a payment gateway system. Exciting stuff, right? Now, the Lightning Network has been used for a long time in like Latin America. If you go to McDonald's, or if you go to El Salvador and you go to McDonald's, that's what you're using, the Lightning Network, to pay for stuff. So this is not a new concept. It's been around for a while, but the ubiquitous nature of it and its ability to kind of spread right now is really, really exciting stuff. So right now, apparently, there's two key things. One is with Shopify, and the other one is with NCR, right? Now, with Shopify, the partnership is live, and that means that any merchant that uses Shopify can accept payments. Here it says without the 1949 Boomer network, and receive it instantly, no 3% fee, nothing like that. So any Shopify website has the ability to offer sales via Bitcoin. Now, will everyone do this? I think it's going to be interesting. I know there's a bunch of websites already. Like there's a sneaker site that I really like called Novel Ship. I can buy sneakers via Bitcoin and Ethereum now if I want. So I think, yes, it's just a novel way to allow for more ways for people to pay. So I think that's quite bullish. Now, the McDonald's thing that's the whole partnership with NCR. So if you've seen NCR before on payment, devices, when you go into a store, that's what NCR is. Now we're still waiting on details for that, but the idea is that soon, we don't know the complete details, but those devices will be able to take Bitcoin via the Lightning Network as well. So really, really bullish. And if you take one thing away from Bitcoin Miami conference, this is it. Very exciting stuff. The other thing is Bitcoin is just happening. The cards are just falling slowly but surely. So when you see these dips, 40 to 38, to 31, who cares? Who cares? Nation states are adopting Bitcoin. So Honduras isn't. There was some tweets that you Chinese whispers saying, "Oh, Honduras has adopted Bitcoin." That's not necessarily it. There is a special economic zone. It's called Prospera in Honduras. So it's a zone inside of Honduras. Think of it like a locality or a municipality. They're taking Bitcoin. But again, really, really bullish stuff. Mexico as well is considering it. Now, what does this actually mean in terms of considering? It's not just a theory. What we do know is that the Mexican president has extended an invitation to Samson Mao at Blockstream to discuss the possibility. So all it is a conversation, but the fact that Mexico, which I think is the world's 16th largest economy, is discussing this is really, really bullish stuff. Finally, this is obviously, fans of the show will know I'm a huge UFC fan. I'll be watching UFC 273 tomorrow. But Bitcoin, so if you do watch the UFC, they give away fighter bonuses. And what they're looking at now is bonuses based on what the audience or the fans deem as like the best fighter of the night or the best athlete. And they're going to pay those bonuses in Bitcoin. And that's via their partnership with crypto.com. So we're seeing nation states, we're seeing more and more athletes adopt Bitcoin. We're seeing the solid foundation of Bitcoin. And, this thing in the long term isn't going away anywhere. That's not something I'd be scared of. I think if you're a fan of the show, that's pretty much locked in, right? It's just a matter of knowing when's a good time to buy, when's a good time to take profits, when should you be dollar cost averaging, which I think you should be doing every month anyway. Now, onto the queen, right? Ethereum. Now, Ethereum actually is held up pretty well, actually. Like, it held up a lot better than a lot of coins right now. And in part, I think it's what I've been discussing the last 2 episodes. And please check those episodes out where I talk about the ETH 2.0 merge, right? So the move from proof of work to proof of stake. People are realizing that when that happens, no, that's not going to reduce transaction fees. But what it will do is reduce the issuance of ETH by 90%. So I still think Ethereum is a really, really good buy right now in terms of long term, in terms of like a coin that is a good store of value that probably isn't going to crash, but is likely, it's not going to 3, 4, 5x either. But you are likely going to maintain your wealth, not financial advice. ETH is a really, really good one. So we broke out this long-term, not long-term, medium-term since December trend that was, validated 4, 5, 6 times. We bounced off of that. Now, where we are right now, 3,100 needs to hold. 3,100 needs to hold. If we lose that, then we're looking going back down to 2,800, 2,900. But even then, that's still pretty good. So ETH has helped. The fact that we're still above 3,000 is a really good sign. What I want to move on to is Solana, actually. Let me move on to Solana. Now, Solana is one of those where, honestly, we have a lot of strong tailwinds for Solana, Ahmed. We obviously, weeks and weeks ago, I mentioned we had to fall out of this descending channel, and we did. We're still above that. Now, Solana, let me go back a step, actually, before I look at the charts. Solana is actually now on OpenSea via a beta launch, which, when you look at it this way, Solana was already the second largest, NFT ecosystem behind Ethereum. Now, it's a distant second, sure, but when you look at something like Magic Eden or Solana, which are Solana-based NFT marketplaces, they are a fraction of OpenSea. So the fact that those are now on OpenSea, really, really, really bullish stuff. And I think even Coinbase, their NFT marketplace, which has millions of people on the waiting list, will likely have Solana as well. So Solana actually has something that the other layer ones like AVAX and NEAR don't have, and that's composability. So let me explain that. So AVAX, NEAR, Cosmos, they have what we call EVM, Ethereum Virtual Machines. And what that allows protocols like Aave to do, for example, you just copy and paste. You copy and paste whatever you had on Ethereum and you copy and paste it on AVAX or NEAR, right? Now, in the past, I've said, and there's pros and cons. The pro is it has adoption and liquidity into those chains a lot faster and easier. But the thing is, it's you don't have like that innovation. Like, teams are not building on those actual ecosystems, right? They're just building what they had on Ethereum and they're copying it over. So what that means is you don't have a lot of developers natively building on those chains. They're copying and pasting a lot of their thing. Whereas Solana is built on Rust, right? And in terms of composability, with Ethereum, you have like all these layer 2s. It's hard for you to if you bought something, an NFT on Immutable X, and you want to put on OpenSea, it's not simple. So that's an example of composability. So Solana has that, and Solana is and I do think that the venture capitalists have sold off. They've sold their bags. So it honestly, I'm a huge fan of Solana, and I think all the bullish signs that are happening with Solana are going to be quite positive. Now, when you look at the chart, Solana hasn't fared as well as, say, Ethereum right now, but what we do need to hold is this $110, $103 support. We're still bullish. We're still outside of this channel. If we lose that, we could go down to $79. $79 would be a strong level of support. So if you have Solana, I'd hold your bags. If you're looking for entry points, I'd either look off a bounce off of 104, and that will take us all the way to $140 as a target, or $79. Not financial advice. Now, let me go back to AVAX, right? So AVAX and bullish news from AVAX is the Luna, now, if you remember, Ahmed, I spoke about the fact that Luna was buying like millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. And I said to you, like, Ahmed, what if you knew that someone was going to buy millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin soon? Wouldn't you buy Bitcoin? And that hadn't been priced in. The week after, Bitcoin just skyrocketed, right? It went up like 10%. So this is almost like playing out again. Now, it's not as much as they bought in terms of Bitcoin, but when Luna says they're going to buy something, they always buy it. And now they've actually bought $100 million in AVAX for their stablecoin reserves. This coincided with the market dip, and AVAX has gone down, but not as much as it should have. So that should tell you something. When there's a dip and something doesn't drop as much as it should, then when it bounces back, it's really, really bullish stuff. So again, that's one to look out for. Moving on, NEAR, right? So I want to talk about NEAR. Now, NEAR, if you've been watching, NEAR has just been going bananas, right? Like NEAR has ignored the trend, whereas everything has gone down, NEAR has gone up like 18% or so. So NEAR is doing really, really well. And I do think that NEAR is still not at all-time high yet. So I do think that there is resistance at the all-time high level of $20. But I do think now that we've had a little bit of oversell or overbought rather on the RSI, NEAR could go back down to $15. And if I was looking for an entry point, I would look at this, which coincides as a 38% Fibonacci level. That would be a good level to buy. So if you think you missed out on NEAR, I don't think you have, because NEAR is also launching their own stable coin, right? And their stablecoin is going to have an APR of 20%. Now, again, guys, don't at me. I don't know if it's halal or not. I don't really care. I'm not looking at it. I'm not going to buy it. All I know is it's coming. So when it comes, and then we can look at it and get the Mufti Saab's advice, just like you looked on Anchor, and Anchor wasn't halal. So I don't know whether it is or it isn't. But the point is that this hasn't even really arrived yet. So I don't think you've missed out on NEAR necessarily. But buy on red, don't buy on green. Now, one coin that hasn't done really, really well, actually, that is actually really struggled, is Fantom. And this sort of kind of fell under the radar a little bit. Fantom, they announced a $335 million incentive program. If you guys know anything about funding, every time you get a bit of funding, it's bullish, depending on the team. And Fantom has an amazing team. So I do think, if there's coins that are sort of in that buy zone right now, Fantom may be one of them, right? Like, look at things when people aren't looking at them, because Fantom's one of those. Now, what does Fantom need to do to be interesting to buy? So it's in this descending since February, this pattern, 1 point, 2 point, 3 point. 3 points are always confirmation when you have a trend. So that's clearly a trend right now. And really what we need to do is break out of this trend, bounce off of this line. And that kind of coincides with the Bismillah level, right? The 78%, 79% Fibonacci level. So that's at about $1.50. And we're about $1.20 right now. So one or two things will happen. Either one will go down to this low, this local low, and we might form a W pattern, and that could be $1. That would be a good time to buy. Or we break past this 786 level, we bounce off of that, which is $1.53. And right now we're at $1.20. So you can see you don't always buy on low. You look to buy the trend. The trend is your friend, and that's what I would do with Fantom. Now, one of your old time favorites, Ahmed, HBAR. Speaking of funding, they've committed to a $250 million fund. This is after they just announced a $155 million fund just last month, right? So last month they had a $155 million fund focused on DeFi, and now this new announcement is on the Metaverse. So they're throwing $250 million, and it's like Brother Naguib says, like, where does this money bloody come from, right? It just blows the mind. They're committing $250 million to Metaverse, which I think is so smart. Like, there are like three main parts of crypto, right? You've got the Metaverse, you've got DeFi, and you've got layer ones, right? And they're committing to two of those. So bullish stuff if you're a HBAR fan for sure. Now, that's oh no, sorry, I do have one more. I do have one more before we sort of finish up. And that's Rose, right? So Rose is a layer one, and Masari recently released out a report. Now, Masari, they are a research firm. They track wallets, they track big investors, they track funds, a lot of data, right? Now, you can get a lot of free data on their website, and you can pay as well, which I don't necessarily recommend, but their website has a lot of information. Anyway, they released a report on Oasis, and they sort of talk about why it might actually be a layer one that is a little bit different from others. So let's talk about that. So Oasis is designed to be a privacy-focused, scalable proof of stake layer one. Now their value proposition is it is a multi-layer modular architecture that enables low-cost, privacy-focused smart contracts. So now, when you think about layer ones right now, by definition, by design, everything is public. And if I send you something, Ahmed, we can go on Snowtrace if it's AVAX, we can go on ETH Tracker, and we can see I sent you this much on this day, right? We can see it went from this wallet to that wallet. The thing is, a lot of people don't want that. A lot of people don't want their transactions to be tracked, right? Especially big whales. Like there are websites and Twitter accounts that track whales moving stuff, and they don't like that. So this presents real privacy concerns because it can actually open up identities like a lot easier. You just have to follow the track, follow the trace, and then you can see who owns what. So these guys actually talk about, they talk about the trilemma when it comes to blockchains. You got security, decentralization, and speed. Well, they say there's almost like a quad lemma, right? And that is privacy. So this is something that Oasis has, that they've spent a lot of academic research, a lot of really good players behind this to focus on privacy. And in terms of investors, you got A16Z, Polychain Capital, Pantera, Binance Labs. So people who are real winners in this space, and they also have a $200 million ecosystem fund as well.
Yeah.
And right.
One good sign
Go ahead,
of, like, sorry to cut you off there. I was saying one good sign of knowing if a project is good or not is if Binance Labs is funding it, or if Binance Labs, like, that's always an easy way. If you don't want to do any research, just follow Binance Labs, find out which projects Binance Labs is funding, and see if they're halal. And if they're halal, just that's an easy win in the long run. Because if out of them, like, they have analysts who sat and did hours and hours of research for us. Just You can just make your life easy that way too. Or you can
Oh,
watch the show.
100%. 100%, 100%, exactly. And by the way, if you on Masari's website, and I won't do it now, but if you actually go to research, you can see like what Binance Lab, what's in their portfolio, like ranked 1 to like 30. Same thing too. I'd say similar in terms of, like you say, Ahmed, Binance Labs look at what they're investing, A16Z and Pantera as well. These,
Yeah,
look at what these guys, like, the huge funds, right? And of course, by the time they invest in it, it then pumps, right? But
yeah,
they're often in this quite early. You know what I mean? Like the key to riches in crypto isn't like pumps, isn't like 16, 17 X's. That happens sometimes. It's DCAing in, it's like long-term sustained investment, just like in equities and trading forex, which used to which I think you had comments on, it might not exactly be halal. But the point is, look at where the smart money is. Now, finally, and I'd be remiss of me not to talk about this, is let's look at the charts really quickly. So right now, Rose, or Oasis, it might be a good time to buy. So if we bounce off of this level, which I think we will, the 786 level, that would be 24 cents. We've been like hitting, the fact that it's held 25, 26 cents is really good. If we sort of break that, I really can't see us really breaking that too much, but it's not a bad time to buy. So if we bounce off this level, really solid, and I think there's strong upside, in the medium term, easily to 30 cents, 40 cents, and not financial advice. But that's another good one right now that I think it's been ignored a little bit in terms of the market. But anyway, Ahmed, that is the market update, and I'll kick it back to you, my friend.
some really key, interesting points. And you know how we were supposed to answer what are your top five? I feel like I know what may be in your top five, and a few of mine were actually kind of mentioned also, but not in my top five, but I would say in my top 10, 15. I really don't have a top five. I would like a overall. Anyway, so let's
It's
do the
hard. It's
marhaba.
hard. Yeah, yeah.
It's hard. It's really hard. So let me do the marhaba update, and then from there we'll do our top fives. And guys, you guys want to wait till the top fives for sure, and check out these marhaba updates because there are some really good ones for this week and the upcoming week. So here, let me share my screen. All right, Moby, let me know once my screen is shared.
There we go. Yep.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so there is an update on the Sahal wallet, and actually there will be updates on the Sahal wallet almost every other week, with different features, different capabilities, and more accessibility for everybody. So we're going out of that beta stage, and we're going into a full-fledged product stage very soon. So in preparation of that, there's a lot of updates coming. So for this specific update, there's Wallet Connect that has been integrated. So now, if you want, you can pretty much go into your Sahal wallet and connect Wallet Connect with different websites or different platforms, and you can trade your currencies through it, and it's pretty easy to do. If you also have access to round one funding, round two funding, seed funding, whatever funding that you were part of, and you're interested in getting those tokens into your Sahal wallet, you can also do that. There's an email that was sent out about updating your Sahal wallet or updating your wallet address that you want to receive your tokens in. You can put in your Sahal wallet address, and then you can just wallet connect that to the dashboard, and you should be able to get all your tokens into your Sahal wallet if you want. And just like that, soon there's going to be NFT and other integrations also on this whole wallet. So stay excited. Download the wallet if you have it. Download it and start using it. Maybe put a few MRHB tokens in it. Buy MRHB tokens on it using MoonPay and see how that experience is. So that went live a few weeks ago. And then this is something that's really exciting for myself. I think a lot of people are going to be interested in this. We're going to be having a MRHB live seminar about Zakat on crypto with Dr. Farouk Habib himself, and we're going to be answering all the questions in regards to this crypto, that crypto, how much Zakat is in stable versus how much Zakat is in things like utility, NFTs, and all that stuff. So. A lot of exciting stuff that's going to be happening, and this is going to be a live session directly on our YouTube channel, directly on this channel, on April 12th, 1 p.m. GMT. So stay excited for this and bring all your questions because it's a live session. You guys can ask your questions. If you want to ask your questions in advance, you can put them in this video actually, and we can prepare for them. All right. Next thing. Um, so we are extending the liquidity providing and the rewards program that Marhaba was having, which was supposed to end in March, but it's now being extended to June. And so there's and 2 million extra MRHB tokens have been added to it. So this is going to be some good news, some exciting news for you guys if you guys do want to make that passive money. And as I like to say on my own YouTube channel, I want to make that mashallah money, mashallah passive money. Um, this is one of the ways personally I have some of my tokens in there also, and why not, you make some passive income and you see how much you make on a daily basis. So there's some exciting stuff there. To learn more, you can go on our Twitter and you can click on the Medium article, and it will go into details on how you can participate and what the criteria is. Another quick update is if you guys are interested, we are Sheesha Finance and ourselves have done a joint airdrop campaign. We thought, why not do some airdrop, see how that does, and it's doing fairly well. So if you want to be part of that airdrop, join in, jump in, tell your friends about it. They can get rewarded for joining our Telegram and get rewarded, potentially get rewarded. I'm not guaranteeing anybody who's going to join is going to get something, but it's an airdrop, so it's like you do a raffle draw and then you give out the money accordingly. So check it out. Those are the quick updates. There's a lot more updates in regards to what's going on with our other products. For example, the Souk NFT has a lot of exciting things that are coming up. There's also liquidity harvester that's been working on. For the Souk NFT, there's going to be UI UX changes, but there's also going to be new integrations being done. So stay excited for that. And there's a I like to do this a lot, Moby. So there's an exciting update which I can't give now. Some really big news, which is linked to the Souk NFT. It's going to be coming later on, and like we haven't talked about any of this in other places. So some exciting stuff that's coming up, and stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff, and you guys will probably get a chance to hear it here first, if not first, then probably on Twitter or Telegram. But there's some exciting news coming up. Hopefully, we can tell it within a few weeks. But yeah, that's a few updates from Marhaba. And
Nice.
yeah, any questions, Moby? What's your thoughts about those?
Exciting stuff, man. For me, I can't wait for the liquidity harvester. That's just bananas. I know the team's working really hard on that. A lot of the resources are going there, but yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be a game changer.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of interest coming in from external big names when it comes to liquidity harvester. So yeah, let's see how that goes, and there's a lot of exciting stuff that's coming from that product specifically also. All right, man. What are your top five? I think this is what people have
I
been waiting
reckon.
for.
I reckon you go first, Ahmed, because I just talked about some coins and there's going to be a bit of overlap. But you go
Uh,
first, and yeah, then I'll give my top five.
okay, so what I'll focus on is maybe things that you haven't talked about, maybe some tokens that you haven't touched upon recently. I have some tokens that I would agree are from my top 20 or top 15, which are here. I actually made 3 videos which are on my YouTube channel about my top 15 for 2022, or I'm gonna add to that those videos, and I'm gonna be like top 20, top 25, because you have to diversify. You can't just do a few. But I'll be honest with you, the real way of making money in the crypto world or in this industry from your top 10, top 20 are from low market cap based, but I can't tell you guys those right now because you have to understand how the crypto world works before I can tell you about your low market caps and stuff like that. So I'm going to talk about mid to high market cap, which are my favorite. You talk about Ethereum a lot. Ethereum is probably one of my favorites. I'm going to bring back Bitcoin, and the reason why I'm going to say I'm bringing back Bitcoin, and I've talked against Bitcoin before, so I'm bringing back Bitcoin, and the reason why I'm saying Bitcoin is because actually probably for the next, let's say, 6 7 years, money that comes into the crypto sphere or the crypto markets comes through Bitcoin first. And then when the market crashes from Bitcoin, people don't take out their money from crypto and run away. By the time they jump into Bitcoin and they start understanding crypto, because they're going to start doing a little bit of research, they realize, oh, the altcoins are also something that's very interesting. So then all that money gets shifted towards altcoins. This is the reason why when Bitcoin does good, altcoins do good too, but they don't do as good. But when Bitcoin doesn't do as good, altcoins do a lot better. This is the reason why Ethereum held a lot better than Bitcoin. And then there's also correlations with NFTs, but which I'll talk about later. So Ethereum, Bitcoin, I'm also going to talk about. I know these are the most obvious things, but let's talk about a few which a lot of people don't talk about. So there's GRT, Graft. I really like Graft. The reason why I really like Graft is because data is black gold, and because data is black gold, we need to understand how we can advance the work that's being towards data and data management, and GRT does that. And so, as of now, it might not seem like a huge uh, solution for the global markets, but I think GRT could be a big potential in the future. So GRT, I'm going to talk about. I talk with Ethereum. I've talked about. I think I like HNT, HNT, and I've talked about HNT helium
Mm.
mining, and the reason why is because they're progressing well as an organization towards a huge utility, which is 5G network. And they just announced their partnerships, and you talked about it in regards to bringing actual 5G network peer to peer, so which is huge. So AT&T also. Let's say I sent you a few more. Let me see the ones that I sent you, and from there I'll talk about the other ones. Rose, I really like Rose. Also, you talked about Rose. I've invested in Rose for some time, made some decent returns from it, and then I sold it. But I think I should go back in because the
It
utility
wasn't
that
the worst thing. It wasn't the worst thing to sell it though, and that's okay. That's okay.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about taking profits all the time, and I did, and so I just kind of went out of it. Um, I like the Ethereum competitors Solana and Avalanche also quite well. I think those are very smart. And the last one I'm going to talk about, which you may not like, is XRP, because for me, XRP is still that aspect that
Wild
um,
card. Wild card.
it's a wild card. It really is. Look, I like to live my life a little bit on the edge. I like the exciting aspects of life. My mom tells me, Ahmed, you should do, specific things in life. And it's usually very by the line. And I'm like, Mama, there's no fun in that. This is why I like to travel. I like to be in different locations. 2 days ago, I just randomly went with some friends from here, which I just met. They didn't speak English, and I didn't speak Arabic as well. But they went out, and we all went to eat food, and she was like, almost got a heart attack. She's like, "What's wrong with you?" And my phone wasn't working. You didn't pick up your phone. I was like, I was just having some fun. But anywho, so that's my wild card. And I think the last one I'll talk about, which a lot of people don't talk about, is IOTA, which is working towards Internet of Things. And a lot of people don't understand Internet of Things. Everything. So for example, when your house, your Google Home, your TV, your refrigerator, everything, when that's connected, that's Internet of Things. So imagine bringing that to the blockchain, and that's IOTA. So for me, I find that to be pretty exciting. Also, I'll leave it at this. But there's a
So
lot more talking
what was that?
about.
Was that 6 or 7? Well,
I don't
so
know.
you had Bitcoin, Ethereum, Helium,
Yeah, yeah.
Rose,
IOTA, yeah.
XRP, IOTA, and Graph. 7.
GRT
Okay.
and GRT.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Good GRT Graph. So yeah. So your top 5 are 7. Uh, they're awesome. They're awesome. That's good. It's good. More the better, right? Awesome. Okay. Well, I'm gonna give you. So let me just swap this out here. Okay. Awesome. So I'm gonna give you my 5. Like guys, follow any of my market updates. This is not going to be a huge surprise. One thing I do like, Ahmed, I like how you said Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? Like, especially in volatile markets, you need to have like a portfolio allocation. You have to have diversification. Like the top traders, they don't put 100% of their stuff in an XRP or a Cardano or a speculative low cap. They don't do that, right? You might have like, if someone comes into the market brand new, if they're just going to drop $1,000 or something, I say like just buy spot ETH or Bitcoin, just leave it in there. But if you're going to be adding to it, putting in $1,000, I always like to say have 60%, 65% in like a Bitcoin or Ethereum. And like we sort of said, Ahmed, every time we do this update, there's another country adopting it. Like we realize how early we are, and how some of the reports of Bitcoin hitting $1 million by 2030, they're not that far fetched, man. So I really like that.
yeah.
So I think that's a good lesson for everyone in terms of like have a big part of your money in something stable that's going to be a store of value, because as
Hmm.
much as you want to get rich and you want to drop in a low cap, like that, I don't want to say it's gambling, but that there's a bit of luck there too, right? So that's
Yeah.
not the way to get rich in crypto for most people. Awesome, cool. All right, so I'm going to talk about my top 5. I'm going to share my screen again. Let me kind of get this back. All right, awesome. So my top 5, like the first one is going to be AVAX, right? Like we mentioned a little bit earlier, AVAX had their like Luna Foundation just announced that they're going to buy $100 million in AVAX. And if you remember, now this is obviously short term. This is not why I like AVAX. When Luna did this with Bitcoin, like a week later it pumped, right? So I do think there's still money to be made in AVAX. Like a 2-3x from here within the next 6 to 12 months, I don't think is without the realm of possibility. But why I like AVAX, right, is like when you look at the difference between AVAX and Ethereum. Now, Ethereum, I think, is going to be, like the queen of crypto for a very long time, right? And it's not because it is the slowest layer 1. It does 15 transactions per second. Something like AVAX does thousands. Something like Solana does even more. It can do almost 50,000, theoretically. But the point is, like, when you talk about the differences, like Ethereum does everything on one layer, settlement, exchange, everything on one layer. Where AVAX does things a little bit differently. They have like 3 different chains or components of AVAX. And that means like there's less congestion. That means fees are going to be low. That means scalability is a lot more easier, right? So in terms of AVAX, you've got the X chain, and that acts like a decentralized platform for creating tokenized smart assets, right? So that doesn't affect the rest of the chain. Then you have the platform chain. Now, the platform chain, the one big thing about AVAX are its subnets. The subnets allows you to create your own sort of like networks, utilizing the network effect of AVAX. I've spoken about this in the past, but now we're actually seeing real utility and examples. So DeFi Kingdoms is a game that just launched on AVAX, and the total activity recently was higher than Ethereum. So these actual custom chains, these subnet chains, is a huge win for AVAX, and they rolled it out without a hitch, and it worked really well. And then you've got the C chain, right? So that's the EVM layer where you can run Ethereum-based, protocols there. Now, in terms of DeFi Llama, when you look at the growth potential, AVAX is still above. It's sitting 4, and there's $10 billion locked in. And it's actually it's like 40% or so more than Solana, even though Solana's market cap is higher than Avalanche. Now, total value locked is not the only thing that dictates where the market cap is, but it just tells you that the TVL, the market cap by total value locked ratio, is half of Solana's. So in terms of quality and what you can get bang for buck, really good. The next one I want to talk about is NEAR, right? So what is NEAR? NEAR is pretty much what Ethereum 2 wants to grow up to be. That's what NEAR is. It already has sharding. It already has fast, proof of stake, it's proof of stake network. It's literally what Ethereum wants to be, and it's already here, right? And I think the market right now is seeing like how good NEAR is and just the potential of it. And in terms of team as well, we spoke about this before. Ahmed, you always look at team. It's got engineers from Microsoft, engineers from Google. It's very user friendly. So me as a marketer by trade, I always look at what's user friendly and going to take up adoption. So by default, if I want to send something to you, Ahmed, from my Ethereum wallet to your Ethereum wallet, I have to send it to Oasis with NEAR. I could have mobysadiq.near sent to ahmedjawa.near, right? So things like that. I mentioned in the past, they have almost $1 billion development fund, $800 million, and they also have Octopus. So this is I'm going to kind of cheat, do a little bit what you did. This is like my 2B, so I had 1, so 2B. Now, this is a low cap, and we've mentioned this in the past. I've shared slides. If you want to go search for Octopus Network on the Rahaba channel, there's a whole episode or video on that. But really what it is, it allows you to create app chains, right? It's almost kind of like a Polkadot, but almost like a more efficient version of Polkadot. And that leverages the NEAR blockchain, and it's got some great backers. Like we mentioned, who do we got here? We've got Continue Capital, Electric Capital. There's a lot of big development funds there. And right now, funnily enough, last time we did this episode, it was $3.20, and the market cap was $230 million. It's kind of half that right now. It's like 140 or 120 $20 million or whatever it is. So I would still consider that a low market cap. And when you look at the potential, when you look at something like Dot and Atom, which Octopus is equatable to, there is a huge growth potential there. So that's kind of like my 2B. My next one, my third one is Metis. So leveraging off, Metis is kind of like riding on the coattails, the cape of Ethereum, right? So Metis is a layer 2 rollup that is helping solve Ethereum's a high gas problem. Now, in terms of like you look at all the layer 2s, so layer 2s will sit on top of Ethereum layer 1. It's got one of the cheapest transaction costs, 32 cents. In terms of like total value locked, it's more than Polygon Hermes, so I would kind of almost ignore that one. When you look at the ranking of the layer 2s, Metis, it has dropped a little bit, but it's still sitting at 4th right now, above Loopring, above ZK Sync, and all of these ones have been around for much longer than Metis. So Metis right now, it's taken a little bit of a hammering of late. The price is under $100 right now. There's been some sort of issues with middle level management, and I know there's a token unlock, but fundamentally nothing has changed. It's very sound. They have a Chainlink and Aave integration coming up, and still really honestly, again, if you watched this episode before or this show before, we've spoken about the fact that Vitalik's mum is like the CEO of that. So you're not gonna say no to mum, right? So finally, my third, or sorry, my fourth one is Rose. I don't need to share my screen now. Rose Protocol. I think it solves that big problem of privacy, something that maybe people hadn't thought about, but Rose was investing in for a very, very, very long time. So similar one to you, Ahmed. And man, I can't believe you didn't put this on your list. Marhaba, the Marhaba token. You know what I mean? Come,
I
come
thought
on,
it was kind
Ahmed.
of a given.
Come on,
It was
man.
given.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
kind of a
okay,
given,
cool,
right?
cool. But I'm putting that as
Well,
my.
like I mean, the logo's up here, right? The logo's up here somewhere, so it's like it's kind of a given. So
It's kind of a given. I'm being cheeky. I'm being cheeky. But like in terms of Marhaba, obviously solving a problem that no one else is solving, built on a solid chain, very, very, very strong team. The liquidity harvester alone is is a feature that is going to propel Marhaba from a bit of a community, coin is something that Muslims use to honestly the mainstream. The ability to have passive. It's kind of like the like we had strong nodes and like nodes had a big thing the last couple of months and they kind of dipped. Everyone's looking for these passive income. The reason is people are looking for passive income. They're looking for ways just to make their like I just want to put my crypto in and I want it to do something and I want it to come back. The difference is the liquidity harvester is actually going to be halal, right? So yeah, that kind of rounds up my top five. I kind of had a cheat like you, Ahmed, had like a 2B. So AVAX, Near, Octopus, Metis, Rose, and Marhaba. They're the big ones for me to watch. You could do a lot wrong DCAing into other coins.
That's funny how you put it. It's funny how you put it. But yeah, I agree with you. I like those tokens also, and they're part of my top 25 and stuff and all that stuff. So yeah, guys, that's about it for the show. Any last comments, Moby, that you want to leave people with? And
No, just really like guys, obviously Ramadan is a tight month for everyone, so we appreciate you guys tuning in. The Mufti Saab is very busy, so he's doing Mufti things, right? So he told us already, if you guys remember, he's out all of Ramadan. I think we might have some videos coming up that are pre-recorded stuff. So
yeah,
we know you miss the Mufti, we miss him more, So stay tuned for that stuff. And we're going to try to do something a little bit differently. So it's going to be tricky. It's going to be tight. There's like no promises we can do a show as consistently in Ramadan. But Ahmed and I were talking about maybe doing a live or answering a question. So if you guys are interested in that, we haven't locked that in yet. But if you guys are interested in a live show where we just answer your questions, we would love to do that. So watch this space. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe because it really, really helps the channel. And yeah, stay tuned.
fantastic, exactly same, guys. And if you haven't mentioned already, check us out on our other social media. And we really need you guys to like share as much as you could. We posted a previous video to this one, which is professionally made about what is Marhaba DeFi and the future of DeFi being done right. And so we want you to take that video, and because it's a very professional video, you can share that with everybody. And just share it, send it, put it on your WhatsApp, send it to all the people, send it to the aunties, the uncles, the people that have rejected you for marriage, the people who have accepted you for marriage, the cousin that said no to you for marriage. Just send it this, be like, hey, look, I'm investing in this project, and if it goes to
It's
the
a good
moon, we're gonna miss
overview.
out.
It's a very good overview. Really, really good overview in
Yeah,
terms of
yeah.
what
So
we're
it's a good
doing.
overview,
It's
and
very current.
yeah, share it with as many people as possible. But yeah, but that's about it for the show, guys. Like, share, subscribe. Check us out on our social medias. Keep us in your du'as. We'll keep you in our du'as also, inshallah. And take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.